Welcome to Movie Night, and we're going to continue the M. Night Shyamalan from best to worst films he's directed, in my opinion, and we're on number 4. Number 1 was Unbreakable for me, number 2 was Signs, and number 3 was The Sixth Sense. Links in the description below. If you haven't checked those out, you can go check those out, but we're on number 4 right now, and we're going to go into this spoiler review, and I wanted to do this one a little differently. I did the first 3 just audio only, audio commentary, but this one is a little different. Split is a very unique film. It stars James McAvoy, who plays Kevin Wendell Crumb, Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Casey Cook, and it stars Betty Buckley as Dr. Karen Fletcher, who plays the psychiatrist of James McAvoy's character. One of the things I loved about this film more than anything was it has all the elements of films that we've seen in the past. It felt very Saw-like in a few scenes. A lot of the elements that makes up the Saw franchise can be found in this film. One of which being the 3 girls who are kidnapped by Kevin Wendell Crumb. They're put in a situation where they don't know what's going on. There's a guy out there who is essentially tormenting them and they don't know why. They're trying to figure out how to get out of the situation, and as the audience you really have no idea what's going on. Because the character of Kevin Wendell Crumb is not one character. He plays 23 distinct personalities that are manifested not only through his mental projection of them, but he physically changes into clothes that represents each one. Each character is his own character, all the way down to the fact that he has 23 toothbrushes. These characters can come out of him at any time. He doesn't know one point from the next when whatever character is going to show up, which to the audience that adds to the suspense of it all, because we don't know when one of these characters are going to show up at all in this film. Now, one of my complaints about the film was that we only get to see a handful of the characters that made up the 23. We only see the same handful that come back. There's a little boy that he plays that has a lisp, very unique character out of all of them. He plays a woman dressed up, high heels, everything. There's and a few other ones that are tossed in there, but a few of them come back, and it would have been nice to see more of them, because out of 23 characters and you only get a handful, I would have liked to have seen more. And we'll talk about that aspect a little later in this video, because I think there's a reason why we didn't see as many as we did. The performances are great. Obviously, James McAvoy gives an outstanding performance. The task that he had of not only developing the character of Kevin Wendell Crumb, who is the person he's initially playing, but he also has to play manifestation characters based off of that character. So he's playing not only one character, but a character who has all these different personalities. That is extremely difficult. And I thought M. Night Shyamalan did a great job with this movie. I have to admit, he is one of my favorite film directors. That's why he has made a lot of mistakes. And we know that. There are a lot of films out there, even if you go back to The Village, there are a lot of films that people just don't like. There's no excuse for The Last Airbender and The Happening, and films like Lady in the Water is another one a lot of people don't like, and we'll get to those later on in this countdown. But I thought The Visit and this one, Split, were 2 of his best performances as a director, because he went back to what we all felt like he was best at with Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense, and Signs, and that's low-budget filmmaking, giving us a whole lot with practically nothing, and investing in the character development in a short amount of time, and then adding twists along the way so we're not always knowing what's going to happen from point to point. Split is one of these movies, even though it has horror cliche elements to it, thriller cliche elements to it, has a bunch of elements, like I said, that can be taken right out of the Saw franchise. We don't know what happens from moment to moment. It is so unpredictable from moment to moment that we really cannot predict what's going to happen in this film. And ultimately where it goes at the end of the film, we have a manifestation of the 24th personality, which they reference as the Beast, where he physically gets to the point where mentally his mind can alter his physiology. And I ultimately thought that was a great way to add in the 24th personality, where you're not even making it a part of something that is natural, it's supernatural. He actually takes this personality disorder that he has, this multiple personality disorder that he has, and projects it to a physical manifestation of something that is doing supernatural things, which is a very, very clever twist, which M. Night Shyamalan gives us in all his films, or most of them anyway, right? But at the same time, there's another element in there of all these multiple personalities that get flushed out a little bit by Dr. Karen Fletcher, played by Betty Buckley, who is probably my favorite character in the movie For some reason, I just identify with her trying to figure this guy out, trying to not only figure him out, but get him to a place where he can control and not use it to have these manifestations in his brain of all these multiple personalities that he has, have it controlling him. She wants to know more about him. She wants to learn from him, and she is doing a great job of figuring out all these personalities, or cataloging them in his computer. He has all these files with different personalities that he's come up. They're all named. He knows exactly what makes them tick. It's almost like they're all living their own lives, until the point he comes in and she realizes he's further in the deep end than she ever imagined, to the point where she is compelled to go to his house to see, is there something extra going on right now, because he was acting stranger than usual. And when she finds is, he has kidnapped 3 girls. The lead girl, Casey Cook, I call her the lead girl of the group because she's the one who is focused on the most, and is the one who was smart enough to get to the point where she felt she could manipulate one of the characters by using the flaws in that character as an advantage, or maybe get her out of those situations. And she targets one of the personalities, the young boy. She has figured out a way to get her hands on a walkie-talkie to call for help. Right then, you realize in the story that James McAvoy's character has more control of these personalities than we believe, because he immediately goes away with that character and brings back one that is more control of the situation that he's put these girls in. And that is what made it even more spookier to me than it probably would have been if he wasn't in control of them. But since he is in more control of these personalities than we thought, that added another dimension, because now you can't outsmart this guy. He'll just bring somebody in who's going to outsmart what you thought you were already doing, and he can flip it on a dime more than we thought. And again, once you get to the point where he's a physical, supernatural being at the end of the movie as the Beast, that adds the dimensions of having somebody who is not even almost human at that point. And the way that this pyramid of Casey Cook, Karen Fletcher, and Kevin Wendell Crumb, that pyramid of those 3 characters works so great. That tension when they're all in the same house together really plays well. M. Night is so good with this. He cast this movie perfectly. I take my hat off to James McAvoy. That is an extremely hard thing to do. Again, would like to have seen more of those characters. And that's where I'm going to get at with the biggest twist of all in this film. So, final spoiler alert for this one. And it's, you're wishing, I wish I could see more of the personalities. And M. Night gives us our wish, because at the end of this movie, we find out the biggest twist of all is not the Beast. It's the fact that we find out that the media is calling Kevin Wendell Crumb's character, basically, the Horde. They refer to him as the Horde, and he is loose. They do not capture him at the end of the film. He is out there somewhere, and he has 24 personalities, including the Beast, which is the scariest one. This guy's walking on fucking walls. It makes it really well put together to have a sequel to Split. But not only do we find out that there will be a sequel to Split, but that Split was actually the middle section of a trilogy, with Unbreakable being the first. Bruce Willis reprises his role as David Dunn, and Samuel Jackson's character of Mr. Glass is even said out of the mouth of David Dunn, tying this universe together. And it's going to be very interesting to see how David Dunn, who was set up as a superhero type, Superman, unhurtable type of character, a character with no flaws physically, can never be hurt. Split is not a perfect film. There are some flaws. Again, there are some things that I thought we have seen a million times in other franchises like Saw and like Hostel and films like that. But it does have a lot of originality in it, with that M. Night Shyamalan twist feel to it. That feel once the movie gets going, once the film has developed some of these characters, the tension is amazing. Because after The Last Airbender, I had honestly given up on him. I liked it better when he was at his core, making very low budget, character based films with not a lot of studio interference as far as the way of his material, because his material worked for him. He knew it inside and out. He's writing and directing it, So this movie, just like The Visit, produced by Blumhouse, which is producing amazing movies, very low budget films that are making a bunch of money. Split is not a masterpiece, but for the money that they put into it and how well M. Night Shyamalan fits with Blumhouse, I think they have done a wonderful job. I hope he stays. If he doesn't stay with Blumhouse, he continues the trend of making these lower budget films, getting back to writing material that he's passionate about. I recommend it. Again, not a perfect film. Things we've seen before. but there's enough twists and turns, and then the fact that it's tied into Unbreakable, and since we're promised a sequel to Split, and we're gonna get a better look at Henry Wendell Crumb's characters and more of his personalities, I'm hoping, that makes this movie a little bit better than if it was just a standalone by itself and not tied into Unbreakable and not the promise of a third installment of the Unbreakable Split franchise. So I give it 2 thumbs up. That'll do it for this movie night. I see you guys on the next one. Take care.